Hello, Too Cool Stamping friends. This is Angie here with Too Cool Stamping, and we are here with our weekly live class. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I would love to be your demonstrator if you do not have one already, so please consider that. Today we have another awesome class. We always do, but today I'm introducing my second part of my 4-part Countdown to Christmas class series. And this one features the Poinsettia Place Suite and the Poinsettia Petals Bundle. Oh my gosh, if you love pretty Christmas cards, this is definitely the set for you. And especially if you love poinsettias. I really do, and I have some great cards to show you. The cool part is we're going to have 2 different kits. I've done this several times recently and it's really been a hit. Some of you just like a smaller kit and others want the whole thing, the whole enchilada. So I've been trying to offer more of those. I won't do it every time, but since we're offering the Countdown to Christmas class series, I thought it'd be fun to offer a 5-card kit. So we'll do our live class. I'll show you how to create all of the different cards today. We'll have 5 different cards that I'll feature in a free 5-card class kit that you can receive just for placing an order with me today, actually for the entire week up until September 30th. And when you place a minimum order with me using my host code, you'll be able to receive that 5-card kit for free. And then we'll also have the Countdown to Christmas official class kit, which has 12 cards. It also includes the stamp set, some bonus products, and envelopes, and instructions, everything you're going to need to get those cards done. The whole idea of the Countdown to Christmas class series is to help you get your Christmas cards done. I don't know about you, but every year, even though I'm showing other people how to make cards, I still wait to the last minute. I don't know if you do that too, but I know a lot of people do. So I'm trying to help people get their cards done just a little by little. Let's start early. Let's do 12 cards. Let's do another 12 cards. So each class kit from my Countdown to Christmas class series has 12 cards, and typically you make 4 cards each of 3 styles. So you'll get a little bit of variety. Actually, this one I do a lot of variety even within each of the styles, and you'll see that in a minute. But it's a really great class series. You'll have a total of 48 cards by the first part of December, so you'll be all ready to go with your mailing for your holiday cards. And I'm telling you what, I think holiday cards and cards in general right now are so important for connections during this craziness that's happening with the COVID-19 pandemic. We're really not able to be with the ones that we love and our friends and family, and so cards are a way that we can show that we care, show that we're thinking about people, and send them a little bit of love. So I think holiday cards, even if maybe you don't send as many as typically, maybe this is the year that you'll want to send more. So check that out. You can find all the details for my Countdown to Christmas class series at my toocoolstamping.com website. Okay, let's get started. Oh, wait, I want to just make a quick announcement. Don't forget, this is the last week for the Get and Go Starter Kit special. That's the $99 starter kit. You get to choose $125 worth of product. You get free shipping on that order. Plus, in September, you're going to get 2 free stamp sets, the Queen Anne's Lace stamp set and the So Much Love stamp set. You also get card supplies to make 16 cards, and that's 8 each of 2 different designs using those 2 stamp sets, so you can have fun with that. Or if you want to be a demonstrator, you can actually host a class with those. You'll be ready to go for your first event. Let's see, what else do you get? You also get a free paper pumpkin kit in your starter kit. So all kinds of good stuff come with the kit. It's a great value. Plus, you're going to get 20% discount on all your future orders. So if you want to know more about that, again, you can go to toocoolstamping.com, and I have all the details. But that special offer with the extra 2 cool stamp sets, that's only available through the end of September. So don't miss out on that. All right, let's get started with our Poinsettia Place class. I'm going to hold on a second. We're going to flip the camera around. So hold on, a little roller coaster. All right, let's get this pointed in the right direction. So the Poinsettia Place Sweet is so pretty. You can find that in your mini catalog. And if you need a mini catalog, just let me know and I'll be happy to send one to you. The Poinsettia Place Sweet is featured on page 14. Absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous products. So check that out in our mini catalog. And then let me just show you up close what we're going to be working with today. So you have the Poinsettia Petals stamp set. And there's so many images in here. I mean, I opened this up and there's 2 different sheets. So there's a lot of images in here and makes it so versatile. And you'll see what I mean in a minute when we get started. Then you combine that with the awesome dies. These are just the Poinsettia dies. You have layering, so you can cut out all the different petals and make a beautiful paper flower. It also has, we've seen a lot of this, the embossing. So it has the embossed veining in each of the poinsettia petals. And then it has other accent pieces, so you can put some little berries around your flower, some leaves around your flower, and it's just a lot of beautiful, beautiful dies and lots of different ways to use them too. So I'm going to show you all of that, and we'll talk about that with several of our cards. You also, in that suite, get this beautiful Poinsettia Place paper. Oh my goodness. Such beautiful colors. I love these patterns. Some of these images you can even cut out with the dies, the Poinsettia dies, which is awesome. So we have lots of beautiful patterns here, kind of in a So Saffron, an old olive, a garden green, soft suede, and real red. And it does say Whisper White, but there's a lot of very vanilla in there as well. Let's show you the backs. So then the back sheets, you have a lot of different patterns that you can use to mix and match with the more bold and colorful designs. So lots and lots of options here, and we're going to be using a lot of these papers today as well. I forgot to bring it over here. I have my, and I'll show it to you on one of the cards, but we have some really pretty velvet. Let me go ahead and show you in my catalog because I forgot to put it on my desk here. So the Plush Poinsettia specialty paper, oh my goodness, absolutely gorgeous. 12 by 12 sheets, 6 sheets, 2 each of 3 designs. And I'll show you what those look like. They're so fun to play with. We're actually doing 2 different cards for the 5-card class with that. And then really pretty pearls. I did not use these on the cards simply because they're bulky, but oh my Lord, these are absolutely gorgeous. It's just, they're like a little brooch. They're so pretty, and they look perfect right inside of a flower. And I will show you what that looks like. Although, as I mentioned, the class kits will not have any of these simply because I want you to be able to mail the cards that you make. And these you can mail, but you'd have to have maybe some, like a padded envelope and also some extra postage. So I wanted it to be simple, but you have to keep these in mind. These are especially great for 3D projects, or if you want to decorate a little box or something, a little gift. You could actually use one of these 1 or 2 poinsettia flowers on top of a gift instead of a bow. Wouldn't that be beautiful? And that would be a great way to accent that. And then the last piece of the Poinsettia Place Suite is this really pretty ribbon. And this is called Real Red Sheer Ribbon. And so I love that, just a traditional real red. And we're going to be using that on some of our projects today. Okay, let's get started with our projects. Gather up some of my supplies here. Thank you all for joining me. I really appreciate it. I'm going to get my piercing mat out because these are photopolymer, and I like to have kind of a firm but cushy surface so that we can have a really good ink transfer when we're making our stamped images. All right. Our first card is going to start with some very vanilla thick cardstock. Remember, when you use very vanilla or Whisper White, you want to use the thick if you're using it for a card base. It's nice and sturdy, a little bit thicker than the other regular Whisper White and very vanilla. So that's a great place to start. Then we're going to create a little background here. And I've started with a piece of the Poinsettia Place Designer Series paper, and that is 3.5 by 4. And I'll add that to the background with my Stamp and Seal adhesive. Some pretty berries. All right, and then down the side here, we're gonna add a little strip of real red. It's 1 3/4 by 4, and I've already embossed it with the Wrapped in Texture embossing folders. These are really awesome. It's a pack of 2 mini embossing folders, and so you get 2 cool textures in one pack. So I love this one. This is just so sweet and festive at the same time. So I'll use some of that seal and then place this down the side here. And that'll create a really nice background. Let me add one little accent piece. Along the bottom, I have a 1/2 inch strip of gold foil. It's kind of slick, so the adhesive doesn't like to roll on to it sometimes. All right, we'll add that right across the bottom here. So that was 1/2 inch by 5 1/4. All right, next, I am going to use some of that ribbon, and we're gonna wrap that around the whole entire inside of the card front. Whoops, I cut that really long, didn't I? And I'm just going to tie that in a double knot. And then trim away the excess here. And I want that to kind of be over on this side, so we'll just scooch it over there. All right, there's our background. So now we need some poinsettias, right? All right, so let me talk to you a little bit about this stamp set. There's actually several different ways you can make a flower. There's just a regular poinsettia stamped image. You can add leaves to those. There's 2-step stamping. You can add berries with 2-step stamping on that as well. Or you can make a poinsettia where you can stamp the 3 different layers, and then you can use the outline image here from the dies to cut those images out. And then the other way you can have a flower is to simply cut all of the flowers out of some kind of either cardstock or designer series paper, and then you can also use that veining. So several different ways you can get a pretty focal point flower. For this one, we're going to use the actual stamped image. So I have that one right here. We're going to stamp that 2 times in some crumb cake, and we're going to do it onto our berry vanilla to match the card base. Whoops, I already have dimensionals. I mean, where did those come from? They're everywhere. You'll have to tell me about the weirdest place you've ever found a dimensional backing, because I know they show up in crazy places. All right, so 2 of those. Then we're going to, I'm going to use a lot of Wink of Stella in this particular class because it just really is gorgeous. So I'm using some Wink of Stella and just adding some shimmer to that. You guys, if you don't know what I'm talking about with Wink of Stella, it is so pretty. It is just a little bit of clear, kind of gold hint of shimmer. And you just brush it on like you're painting it on. I'm starting to get down to the bottom on this one, so it's not coming out as fast, but it is absolutely gorgeous. So color in both of those with the shimmer. Can you see that in the camera? Hopefully. There we go. And then you're going to use the die that matches that. So we have one of those dies and cut those out. So I already have those. And actually, I forgot that I needed to do some Wink of Stella on here already. So pardon me while I add some of that on my pre-cut ones. So do you guys have a Stampin' Cut and Emboss yet? Oh my gosh, I have to tell you, I'm loving it. I am absolutely loving the Stampin' Cut and Emboss die cutting machine. I think I might like it better than the previous. We will not name that one. It's just really, really smooth. I'm going to use a different Wink of Stella. That one's getting kind of low. It cuts so smoothly, and I was talking to someone recently about whether the plates warp. And I did notice that they did warp a little bit if you're cutting the same thing over and over and over, and you have to kind of put it in the center of the plate. But after that, I started putting all the dies just on all of the corners, and I'm telling you what, I think it works. I think it's straighter than the previous. So if you have a die cutting system, if you know what I mean about the plates warping, I feel like it doesn't do it as much. So I could be wrong. I don't know. Okay. So let's finish up this card. We have two really pretty poinsettias right here. And if you wanted to, I didn't do it, but if you wanted to, there's even a little tiny middle that you can stamp on the inside of the little middle of that flower. So you could do that. I am going to, well, first before I do this, I want to do my sentiment. So I have a little strip here. Let's see how long this is. It's 3 and almost 3.5 by 3/4, and I'm going to stamp one of the sentiments. I like that this stamp set has a lot of sentiments in it that are very, very appropriate for Christmas. And I'm just going to use the Merry Christmas one and stamp that in soft suede. And I'm going to do a little fishtail cutting. So up the center, and then corner to center, corner to center. And that's going to give me a little fishtail. I'm going to add that with some seal right across that piece of gold. And I'm lining it up flush with the real red panel there. All right, we're going to finish up by popping those up with some dimensionals. So we'll do that. And I don't want to have any dimensionals where that ribbon is, so I'm going to put one up here, I'm going to put one down here, and one up here. Just because it makes it not sit very well. And we'll add that like that. I'm going to put just a little bit of snail where those flowers overlap so that they can just kind of sit down on each other, lay down and not pop up. All right, and then we'll just put that right like that. And we'll finish up with, oh my goodness, I forgot to bring them, didn't I? What did I do? Oh no, there they are. Shoo! There's always something I forget. All right, these are the Gilded Gems. They're gold and they are so, so pretty. I'm gonna use the medium ones. And we're just gonna put those right in the center of our poinsettias. And you'll notice there's lots of different ways that you can dress up the center of your flower. So I'm just choosing to do it with the Gilded Gems. There's lots of different ways, and I'll show you some of the different ways as we go. So here's our first card, and this will be one of the 5 cards from the 5-card class. It's also one of the 12-card class cards, and this is the Too Cool version. So in the 12-card kit, you're going to have 2 each of the red style, and then 2 each of the garden green, style. We use a different background here from the Poinsettia Place Designer Series paper. Garden green for the strip. You'll see the other wrapped in texture embossing folder on this one. It's kind of almost like a basket weave, not quite, but really pretty. Everything else is the same, so you're going to have 4 cards from that larger class kit. Okay, so that's one of the 3 styles from the 12 card kit. All right, if you're getting confused, you'll have all this information later on today on my Too Cool Stamping website. Okay, let's get on with the second card. This one, we're going to try a different Poinsettia flower. We're going to start with Pear Pizzazz, and my card bases are 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. All right, we're going to add another piece of that Poinsettia Place Designer Series paper. This one is 2 by 5.5. And this is my favorite pattern from that particular pack. So that goes down the side. Next, we are going to have, we're going to stamp on the Whisper White paper all of the different parts of the 3 petal flower here. Oh, more than that petals, but 3 different layers. So we'll start, and we're going to do this in crumb cake as well, just like the first card. I like the look of the crumb cake. It's a little bit more subtle than soft suede. So I'm going to stamp that. That's our large one. Then our medium. Again, I'm doing this on a paper piercing mat so that we get a nice clean transfer of ink. Sometimes when you're working on a work surface, just a table, flat table, the photopolymer doesn't have enough cushion to catch all of that piece of paper. So if you have something just like a piercing mat underneath it, it's going to help quite a bit. So again, like we did before, we would use the Wink of Stella. And I don't have the Wink of Stella in any of the class kits. Obviously the 5 card one just comes with supplies. The larger one, the 12 card Countdown to Christmas class kit, does not have the Wink of Stella. So if you don't have Wink of Stella, you might need to add that to your order. But you're gonna put Wink of Stella on all of these layers, or you can do it plain if you'd like it that way, but who doesn't like a little bit of shimmer, right? I mean, just beautiful. So I didn't get Wink of Stella on these. I completely forgot to do that ahead of time, but I already have the die cutting done. Again, that's when you can use all of these outline images from the die set to cut all of these parts out. So let me show you how I put this flower together. I just used my bone folder and just did a little bit of a curl to all of the petals, and then I bent each petal up right at the middle point. So there's the first layer. And when you're holding the bone folder, it's kind of like if you were doing curly ribbon. You're kind of doing it like that. So again, just fold up. And then one last layer here. These are so easy to go through the die cutter, the die cutting machine, and they're so easy to assemble. So don't be intimidated by paper flowers because you're going to love them. All right, next I'm going to add these together with some glue dots, mini glue dots. So remember, you don't have to touch the glue dots, just put your piece right on the glue dot on the paper, and then it will come up with that, and you don't even have to touch it. So stagger that a little bit so your petals are not fully overlapping each other, and then add some glue dots to the back of your medium size, your middle layer. And then again, we're gonna stagger those. Push down in the center. And you can just kind of fluff it up a little bit. Now again, this is something that if you're gonna be mailing it, you might not wanna fluff it up or curl it as much. You wouldn't necessarily have to curl it at all. I just want to show you how you can make it a little more realistic by doing that. All right, so again, this is gonna have a bunch of Wink of Stella on it, so you have to picture that. I'm gonna have to add that in later, but that's gonna go on your card there. Before we assemble that, let's do our sentiment. I already have a stitched rectangle Whisper White die cut here, and I'm gonna stamp in soft suede. And this time I'm going to use a different sentiment, Warm Wishes from Our Home to Yours. So that is the sentiment. And just like the other card, we had a little strip of gold. This time I have a 1/2 inch strip by about 3 inches. And we're gonna kind of do the same thing, a little accent of gold right underneath the sentiment. And the sentiment is going to go about right here. So we'll pop that up. With dimensionals. That's a lot of dimensionals on a little tiny piece. Sometimes I go a little overboard with dimensionals, but we're gonna make sure that's popped up and it's not gonna sag. All right, we will add this with a couple more glue dots. You could also use multi-purpose glue if you wanted to here. Let's go this way. All right. And then we'll finish up with a couple of things. We have one little die cut that I did. There's actually 2 different versions of middle flowers that you can make, and I like to do it with a gold foil. But this one has embossing, and then there's another one over here that has an actual where you cut the holes out of that, and we have that on another card, so you'll see that in a minute. So lots of different options. I love when there's 2 cool ways to do things. We'll put that right in the center, and we'll finish up with some polka dot tulle ribbon. Just wrap that around the entire card front, again just in a double knot. Double knot and trim. Okay, I think we need a few of our Gilded Gems again. So we'll add a couple of those like so. All right. So let's pop this out. There we go. So again, this is going to be colored. Let me show you what it looks like when it's all shimmered up, because that is what is spectacular. Do you see that shimmer? I mean, that totally makes it totally makes that card. So we have, this is the Pear Pizzazz version. This is the one that's going to be in your 5-card kit. And then again, this is also a style that we're gonna have in the Countdown to Christmas class. So let me show you the 2 cool version of that. So the other version is in soft seafoam, and I used a different designer series paper that matched. And soft seafoam isn't even one of the colors when you look at what other color combos that go into Poinsettia Place Suite. It's not even on there. But it really looks great. I mean, that's what that background is. So I used that for a different look, different green. And then, of course, you're gonna make 4 different ones for that 12-card class. So I wanted to see what it looked like using the same paper on the different backgrounds, so you can see what that looks like. And then also the pine cone paper on both the soft seafoam and the pear pizzazz. So anyway, again, mixing and matching. You know how I like to do it. So those are the 4 cards that you'll get with your 12 card kit. Again, you'll get this one with your 5 card kit. Okay, next up, we're going to show a different kind of poinsettia flower. And we're going to have kind of a fancy fold card this time. This is Shaded Spruce. It's 8 3/4 by 4 1/4, and then it's scored at 5 1/2. So we have kind of a shortened little card front here. Next, we're going to add a piece of the Poinsettia Place Designer Series paper. So I'm going to use the back side here. And we'll add that to this card front. All right, next, I want to add a little texture on the inside. And so I have a piece here that is 2 3/4, no, 2 1/2 by 4, and I've already embossed it with the Pine Wood Planks embossing folder. So we'll add that to the inside. Now, if you wanted to, you could put a Whisper White cardstock in there for the message. I'm going to show you something a little different this time. I'm putting the message part over the top of the texture. I don't do that very often, but, and if you wanted to do a sentiment, you definitely would want to add that before you adhere it. I'll get my words right. All right, and I'm just going to put that right on the center of that inside. And you'll see why in a minute, because we're going to make a card front that goes right over the top of it. I kind of go backwards. Does anyone do that? I build up from the bottom, from the base up. So we have a background here, and that's going to go right over the top. And then we have another piece of Whisper White. Let me give you the measurements for those. So this is 3 3/4 by 2 1/2, and that's the same size as the one on the inside. Your mat is going to be 2 3/4 by 4. Okay, we'll stamp the sentiment with some Shaded Spruce to match, and this is a different sentiment. Whoops, thought I had it upside down. I did not. Just a sweet and simple happy holidays. And we'll add that to our Shaded Spruce mat here. All right, so that's going to go right over the top. I'm going to bump that up with some dimensionals. So did you see what I just did there? I know it's going to be like that. I don't want dimensionals over here or it's going to shut the card. And so I just did a 180 flip so I can position it and know exactly where that card front is, so I don't get dimensionals in the wrong spot. Okay. This is going to go right over the top, and then we're going to finish up with a couple of die cuts here. So I've already die cut the leaves. Check these out. Can you see the veins on those? I absolutely adore those leaves. This is die cut, and there's 2 different sizes, as you can see. And so you can cut the stamped leaf out if you wanted to do stamped, and even with the two-step color fill, you can cut those out, or you can do it like I did with cardstock and just add that embossed veining. I love that. All right, so we're going to add that right over the top of our sentiment. I have it just poking out just a little bit from that box, and then the same is going to be true with this smaller one. So that's ready to go. I got that kind of close to my sentiment. Let's move that just a little bit. There we go. All right, then I've already die cut the poinsettia too. Oh my goodness. So look at how beautiful that is. The large, and it's all gonna go together. And again, with the veining, you can see all the really pretty veining. This time I'm just gonna bend all of those up. Actually, I don't want it for that one. I just want it for these two. You could do the curvy like we did with the other, or you could just bend it up. Just gonna show you a different style. So we'll use our glue dots again to build those layers. And this larger one, I'm just going to add some adhesive right to the back here. So this one's not going to bend upright. Okay, so we'll put that right here. Then we're going to add our other two layers with more glue dots. So I'm using about 3. I want to make sure it has a nice good hold on it. Again, stagger those petals. And then I'm going to finish up with, this time, one of the centers in gold again with the cutouts. So you can see holes in there. And I'm just going to use a glue dot in the middle of that. The glue dot will show through there, so it's going to be a little bit sticky in the middle. But we fix that by just doing this. Just do this a couple of times and then it's not sticky anymore. So let me just show you the difference between the middles there. So you can see this one is just the embossed, and then this is the one with the holes cut out. So just a little bit different. So there is our, I think we need a couple of the Gilded Gems, right? More Gilded Gems. So I'm going to add a couple of those. There we go. So that is the 3rd card, and this one is going to be in your 5-card kit as well. Let me show you the other versions. So again, we have 2 of the shaded spruce, and then also 2 of the soft suede. So this one has a different designer series paper, soft suede background. Everything else is exactly the same. So those will be your last 4 cards in the 12-card kit. All right. We have 2 more cards to show you, and these are going to go really quickly. These last 2 cards are for the 5-card kit only, so these are not available in the 12-card Countdown to Christmas class. And this one starts with a Whisper White thick card base, so that's nice and sturdy. We're going to be using that Poinsettia Plush Vellum. So this is the first, there's 3 different designs. This is the first design, and it really is very forgiving as far as adhesive, as long as you don't have one long strip of adhesive. So I would recommend maybe where the different parts are coming together, intersecting, you can just do kind of little dabs of adhesive. And I'm going to layer that. This is a 3 3/4 by 5 piece. We're going to layer that on some Highland Heather. That's 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. So we're going way outside of the traditional color combination for Christmas. And then we'll add this to the card base. I love how that looks layered on there. Just really soft and really pretty. Okay, then can you see just a little bit of adhesive right there, but not very much. If you just do little dabs, then it really is very forgiving. Okay, next we're going to add our sentiment. This is going to be in Highland Heather ink, and I'm going to use the larger sentiment. This is a sentiment that's good for the inside of your card. Many of them are. You can combine them, and some of them can go on the inside, some can go on the outside, but this is a good one for both, I guess. So may magic and wonder bloom this holiday. How sweet is that? I'm gonna do a little fishtail cutting of this one as well. And we'll add that across the front. So you can see I did flush right against the edge there. And then we're gonna add a Poinsettia Flower. And this time I did the same die cutting that I did with the previous card, only this time it's just in white. And I want to tell you that if you like elegant, it is absolutely so beautiful to just do this flower in white. I haven't tried it in like glimmer paper, might be fun. The velvet paper foil would be fun. There's so many ways that you could do it. You could even do it in some of the felt, that special felt. That would be fun too. So this time I'm doing a little curling again. And just pushing those petals back. Get our glue dots out. Stagger the petals. You can see that it really comes together very quickly once you have everything die cut. So here is our pretty flower, and we'll add that with more glue dots. And now I wanted this flower to go down just a little bit, but I put my sentiment a little too far over. So when you are creating these cards, make sure that you get that sentiment over with just enough room to put that banner on there. Just enough, and then right next to where that banner is. You might even want to cut the banner first so that you know what it's going to look like. That way you can put this, the intention was to put it right over the top of this banner, but it's kind of, and it still is kind of going off the edge here. Let me see if I can correct that. Maybe if I do this, there we go. That's a little better. All right, we're gonna finish this one up. This time we're gonna do some silver. This is another die cut. I mean, there's just a ton of die cuts in here. So this one, there's two actually, almost, they might be identical. And this creates the little center that you'll see inside of a poinsettia flower. And we'll add that. I wanted to show you, this is the flower especially that I thought would look absolutely so gorgeous. Look at that. With those pearls. Is that fantastic or what? I love that. Now, I didn't want to put that, like I said, in the card kit because I didn't want to, first of all, I'd have trouble mailing it because I mail it just in a 6x9 envelope. But you would have trouble mailing this. It's definitely too thick for a regular first class mailing. You would have to add extra postage and possibly a padded envelope for that to go through. But if you were handing something to someone or putting it inside of a gift bag, then that would be perfect. All right, instead, we're going to just use a regular pearl because that will go through the mail a little bit better. And we're just going to use a large one and put that right on the center, as well as a couple of additional, pearls over here. All right, so there is our fourth card. Actually, here's the Too Cool version. This one is done with some Coastal Cabana as the background and then Bermuda Bay for the sentiment. And you can see this is a different pattern of the vellum, the Poinsettia Plush Vellum, and it has like a flocking, if you haven't figured that out. It's kind of like a like a velvet, like a flocking. So actually this is the card that I'm going to put in the 5-card kit. I thought it was a little more, just a little more traditional, and I wanted to kind of stick with more traditional. And I think it really looks very wintry, don't you think? So you'll get all of the parts and pieces for this Coastal Cabana card. So that's the 2 cool versions there. And we have one more card with 2 different styles. And for this one, we're also going to use the Poinsettia Plush. So you're going to get a good taste of the Poinsettia Plush Vellum. I'm getting tongue-tied today. All right, so here's our Just Jade background. This is the 3rd Vellum design. Again, we're just going to add some little dabs of adhesive, and that's a 4 by 5 1/4. Doesn't that look pretty? I just love layering that on different colors. All right, for this one, I'm gonna take my paper here and I'm gonna use it on top of my piercing mat because we're going to stamp off a little bit. I also need to clean my stamp. We're going to use that original stamp that we used that stamps the whole flower and show you how you can use that as a lovely background design. So this time we're going to stamp this in Cherry Cobbler. And we're going to do one right here and another one right here. And I'm going to get this off of my stamp because I don't like it to get too stained. It's already pretty stained because I've been stamping a lot of red. Then we're going to add a sentiment. This time we'll do another different sentiment that is not necessarily for a Christmas card, maybe after Christmas. Whoops, I don't want that. I want to put it on this. I have a little stitched shapes oval. I'm going to put it on that. That fits on there perfectly. I stamped it with Just Jade. All right. Let's also, before we do our layering, I'm going to get out my Wink of Stella once again, and check this out. When you have that dark ink, you can use that Wink of Stella to color. So you know how poinsettias are a lot of times they have kind of they might be white, but they have a pinkish tone. This is one way that you can get that kind of little bit of a pinkish tone, and all you're doing is using that Wink of Stella and pushing that ink around so the ink is bleeding, and it's also adding a pretty shimmer as well. So I love that technique. That works with any kind of ink, and you have to do it kind of right after you stamp is going to be the best. The other thing you're going to want to do is make sure that you color off with your Wink of Stella until it's clear again, because you'll have just a little bit of pink on that, and you don't want it to get on your next project. All right, so we have this beautiful pink color. It kind of matches the Flirty Flamingo, don't you think? So I'm gonna add that to a Flirty Flamingo layer here. I don't think I gave you the dimensions on this one, so let me do that. This is 4 by 2 3/4. So this is gonna be 4 by 2 7/8. Just a little teeny tiny bit of Flirty Flamingo peeking out of there. We're gonna add that, let's see. We're gonna put the ribbon on first, don't forget the ribbon. So this is our Just Jade gingham ribbon from our Flowers for Every Season ribbon combo pack. Beautiful. Tie a little double knot on that one. And we're gonna make that go down to the bottom. Then we're gonna use some dimensionals on the back here. You could use the adhesive, the seal adhesive if you wanted to, but I'm gonna pop it up just because that ribbon is kind of bulky and it doesn't want to, if you just use regular seal, it doesn't want to lay flat because of the ribbon. So we're gonna just add this to the side. Let me just put this down just a tiny bit more. Whoops. Add that right about here. Pop that up, and then we'll pop this up. You wouldn't have to necessarily, but when in doubt, pop it up. That's my motto. And add that right over the top. Thank you for making this a wonderful season. You can finish up with a couple of rhinestones. Here's my finished one with some rhinestones. So this card will be in your 5-card kit. And then the Too Cool version is with gray granite. So I use gray granite for the background. I use gray granite ribbon. And everything else here was the same, except for I used gray granite for my sentiment. I used a different sentiment, I guess. And also I switched out to pearls instead of rhinestones. So, actually, I think I have this one in the kit. Now I can't remember which one I put in the kit. I think it's the Just Jade one. That's so pretty. Okay, so let's review again what's going to be in your class kits. So the 5-card class kit, that's the one you can get for free when you place an order for at least $30, $35 or more. You have to use the host code here that I have at the top, K3XDAFVA. And that's going to get you this beautiful 5-card set. So here's all of the different cards you're going to get with that 5-card kit. And again, that offer's available until next Wednesday, September 30th. So get your $35 minimum order in. You can go to toocoolstamping.com and then click on the Shop Now link. That will get you to my online store and you can place an order there. Don't forget to use that host code. The only time I don't want you to use the host code is if you have an order of $150 or more. Don't use the host code. We want you to earn those Stampin' rewards, and you get those reward dollars that you can spend on free product when you have a $150 order. So don't use the host code. That enables you to have those rewards for yourself. Now, just a review, and you'll have all of this information on toocoolstamping.com later today. But I'm going to show you, you'll have 12 different cards for the 12-card countdown to Christmas class. So here are all of those. You'll have 3 different versions. You'll get 2 cool versions in each one, so you can play around, mix and match, just like I like to do. And you'll get all of the parts and pieces for this. In that particular Countdown to Christmas class set, you're going to get the Poinsettia Petals. So you'll get the stamp set. You'll get envelopes. You're going to get half a pack of Designer Series paper. You're going to get some ribbon. You're going to have all the things that you need. You do need to order the Wink of Stella if you don't have that already. It's not necessary, but it really dresses it up. So I totally would advise you to have that on hand. And if you want to, you can add on and get the bundle. There's a bundle kit that will allow you to get the die set as well as the stamp set. And when you do that, when you buy those together with the kit, you're going to get that 10% off discount than if you purchase those separately. So that is included in the price of the class. So you do have a little bit of a discount there when you sign up for the add-on bundle class kit. I think I covered everything. Like I said, I'm going to have all of the information for both of the class kits as well as the add-on bundle option. I'm going to have a cards only option. So if you're a demonstrator and you just want all the pieces all cut and ready for you, you can just order the cards if you want to. All of that will be, the information and the registration link will be available later today on toocoolstamping.com. All right, everybody, that's it for this week. I hope that you really enjoyed this Poinsettia Place suite and all of the fun projects that we made today. I hope that you really enjoy making them yourself, and I look forward to stamping with you again next week on Thursday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Until then, this is Angie with Too Cool Stamping. I'll see you later.